Okay, we're going to start with our training of Rome, best city in the world. Um, okay, so I'm going to start. I put in, 7 days just to give us some options, but I'll start with the most important things and then we'll work our way out if someone happens to be in Rome for 7 days, what they would do on those last days. Okay, so this is Rome. This is sort of a pretty decent view of the city. For someone spending only 3 days, this is probably the area they'll spend most of their time in. Okay, so in locations, we're looking at the anchors at first. Probably have a couple more than this, but the main neighborhoods of Rome are all fairly walkable. It would be a long day to walk all of them, but they're all pretty close for such a big city. And then the less popular ones move out a little bit. This right here inside the bend is Centro Storico. This is where some of the main sites are that are all very close together and make for a really easy walking day. Then if you walked out a little further here, you get to the Colosseum. As you can see, there's not a whole lot in between. This is just a nice walk. This is the Roman Forum, though, so you're not in the middle of modern city when you're walking this way. You can go sort of out of the city, come down to the Colosseum. This area between the Colosseum and the train station, which is Rome Termini right here, is called Monte. And Monte is maybe not where everyone would go if they only had 2 days, but if you have 3 or more, I would say, especially if you're coming from the Colosseum, it's a very, very picturesque neighborhood. Anyone who's interested in shopping will love it, and it's very romantic, lots of good food. And then another major neighborhood is Prati. So Prati, I keep trying to use my finger. Prati is essentially from this side of the river, Ospedale Santo Spirito, and this little curve along the river right over here. So it's this sort of left bank up here. And for the most part, you're only going to send someone here if they are going to the Vatican. Now, most people who are first-timers in Rome will be going to the Vatican, so you'll send a lot of people here. The neighborhood here is like cool, but it's not necessary to send someone if they are only there for a few days, and some people specifically say they don't want to go to the Vatican or they've been before, in which case you don't necessarily need to send someone over to this neighborhood. And I will explain that further. And then up here is Piazza del Popolo and Villa Borghese. Again, it's also a fairly easy walk if you're going from Centro Storico. Here's the Spanish Steps. You just sort of walk up this very high-end shopping, beautiful piazza, and then this is a big, beautiful park with a private museum with an incredible collection. So those are sort of your main places, as well as right here, which is Trastevere, which is also another one of the most absolutely picturesque, gorgeous, feels a little less big columns and ancient Rome grandeur. It feels more like a cute sort of Renaissance, almost even more of a Florence vibe, which also has cute shopping. It is fairly touristy because, all of Rome is touristy, but it's where a lot of study abroad students live, so it has a bit of this like American sift through the garbage situation going on with it, but there is a lot of incredible stuff and it's just a beautiful place to visit. So that's what we're there for, to sift through the garbage. Okay, so let's start with Centro Storico. This is such a rich and adorable and amazing. There's so much here. So as you can see, I'm going to cap it at Piazza di Spagna and then we'll talk about further north here, but really it is all Centro Storico. So within this neighborhood, obviously this all depends where someone's staying, but certain places you have to hit are Campo di Fiori is a famous piazza. There's a market in the morning. In the evening, a lot of people go and get drunk, and there's tons of bars and restaurants. I wouldn't send anyone really to the restaurants around it. It, again, is fairly touristy, but it's a beautiful square, very picturesque, and it's good to go in the morning during the market. Then over here, that's a welcome to our tour. Okay, Piazza Navona is a huge, huge piazza. It's very long and narrow and has gorgeous fountains in it. And it's another place where you would go. It's a little classier maybe than Campo di Fiore. Campo di Fiore is a little younger, a little down and dirtier maybe. But they're both gorgeous piazzas where you should send people. And during the day, they're very easy to sort of just pass through. Won't take more than 30 minutes. And then it gives people the option to, stop for a drink. You're going to spend €18 on a spritz, but it's worth it for the view and stuff if you're especially as a first timer. I always send people to San Luigi dei Francesi. It's a gorgeous church, and you would have no idea from the outside, but there are 3 Caravaggio paintings inside, 3 of his most famous paintings, and you have to put €2 in a little machine for them to light up. That's their way of getting you, but I mean, for that price, you put a €2 coin in and you get to see some incredible Caravaggio paintings. It's right near Piazza Navona. This is the Pantheon. Easy to walk through, beautiful. Again, it's somewhere you'll send everyone. I'm going to go to all activities right now because there are some other places I would send people to here. So this is, maybe I should make this anchors, but as long if certain people are interested in shopping, and even for people who aren't, Via dei Coronari is a beautiful street to walk down, as well as Via del Governo Vecchio. This one is like very old and picturesque and has some of the best shopping. That's not the most high-end, more like local designers and interesting. Here, let's go into shopping and we can find out what they are. Some interesting designers. See, yeah, you can see it runs all the way down this street. We have menswear. This is an incredible old bookstore. It has a hidden pub downstairs. Like, who doesn't want to do that? She's an incredible jewelry designer. So a little more of like, it's still touristy, but it's not completely unheard of designers and styles and stuff, but a little more out there and funky sort of stuff. So there's some very good shopping along the way around here. Let's go back to activities. Okay. So there's your shopping things. So a day spent in Centro Storico. So oftentimes people stay around here. So this is a great way to start a day. Go through Campo di Fiore, through the market, which is a little market, and it's not necessarily like, anyway, it's worth it to go through. Walk through this way. You go through Via del Governo Vecchio, do the shopping thing. There are lots of tours that go through this area, of course. So if someone wants a tour, they can knock all this stuff out in 3 hours with a tour guide. But I like to, if people aren't dying for a tour or so short on time, it's a great way to just spend a whole day wandering around in here. Piazza Navona, San Luigi dei Francesi. We have 2 of those. I'm going to get rid of those. Pantheon. The Basilica of Santa Maria sopra Minerva is another really beautiful place. Has this gorgeous ceiling, this like lapis ceiling, and depending on the time of day you send someone here, there is a bar in the Hotel Minerva that has a gorgeous rooftop bar and it has beautiful views of the city right around there. So depending what time you're sending, you end up there. That's a great way to go, sending someone for a drink there. Now, a little further out, you'll see the Trevi Fountain. Again, everyone needs to go to the Trevi Fountain. No questions about that. And it's absolutely worth it and incredible and easy. Like all these things, the nice thing about spending a day here is none of these are like, 3-hour commitments of museums. So there's a lot of like fun, getting lost, wandering to be done with visiting all of this, which I think is a great way to visit the city to start. Let's go back to more just activities. What do we have? Okay, so this street, you'll see Via del Corso. It is a very busy, like mad street. It goes all the way up to Piazza Venezia, which should be, Piazza Piazza Venezia is sort of seen as like a main it's a main thoroughfare. You can see these streets are pretty big and wide. This is a big circle, and it's kind of like a complete cluster F. Don't mind my language. And there's gorgeous buildings in Piazza Venezia, Museo Centrale del Risorgimento, Altare della Patria. Like all of this is not necessarily stuff you'd send people into these museums unless they're interested in. You can, but it's more just a beautiful scene to visit, and sort of you get a feeling. You feel like it's just like the sort of hectic madness of Rome, and like all the scooters and cars and everything everywhere. It's kind of fun. And so Via del Corso, just to give you the context here, so this is Piazza Venezia, and essentially everything this way and this way from Piazza Venezia is Centro Storico, which we've just been looking at. So depending on the person, depending on the day, let's stay in Centro Storico. You go back up Via del Corso. And this is, depending on the person, some street you send them along. Some people like to get more lost in the back streets. That'd be more my style. But you can tell based on their interests and what type of shopping they like to do. There's a lot of shopping on Via del Corso, and it's the more big name brands. So you might make your way down there. And then you will come across from Trevi Fountain, Via del Corso. Here's, that's another nice afternoon tour. The Spanish Steps, which were just finally finished being renovated for months. So again, there's tons of high-end shopping right around here, like the highest end, and it's a really beautiful area. There's a great coffee shop right here that you should definitely send people to, one of the oldest, Antico Cafe Greco. And tell them to grab a coffee and then go grab a seat at the Spanish Steps, and it's just a beautiful place to people watch. A lot of Rome is about enjoying the people and people watching and finding places to drink and eat on the street. It's really a fun thing. And then again, there's some really beautiful hotels here. These are some of the nicest hotels you'll find, because they're so perfectly situated. I mean, you can't get better than that. Okay. Tons of great shopping here. This is super high-end. This is a great place to buy gloves. It sounds weird, but it's all gloves. It's all amazing. Yes, incredible shoes. So this whole area off Via del Corso on Via del Balduino will be a little more sort of exclusive brands. Via del Corso, you can see there's a Mac store and a Nike. It's like pretty accessible brands you can find in America. A Zara. It's still fun, but just two different styles. This is a little more high-end over here. So so far, as you can see, there's different ways to sort of break up this day, and I'll sort of explain that after, but you can see there's lots of ways to go about this day. If someone's staying over here, you're going to start them off at this Cafe Greco and Piazza del Spagna, and maybe then send them this way. If someone's staying down here, this is the Jewish ghetto, which is a very, very small area, but it's the former, Jewish ghetto, and it still is the Jewish ghetto. An interesting place to visit and see, and there's lots of kosher food, so good thing to know. So if someone's staying down there, then you'll bring them up the other direction, obviously. Going further, let's see. Keep making our way up here. Via Margutta is right here. This is one of the most beautiful streets. This little tiny one, it runs parallel to Via del Balduino with the shopping. Is one of the most beautiful streets in Rome, I think, and it's sort of hidden in plain view because, as you can see, it's in the middle of everything. And this right here goes off like into a hill up into the park, and so I'll explain that. But this is a great place to send people. As you can see, it's just a very picturesque little street market or street vendors, and it's a little fountain, good art galleries, good little shops, and a little less crazy than Balduino and Corso. And this will make your way over to Piazza del Popolo, which is a huge piazza. It's just like this big round It's just huge. And there'll be a lot of people like selling selfie sticks and those glowy things. It's like fairly touristy, but it's a great place to sit and hang out. And then the Basilica of Santa Maria del Popolo, like you should send everyone here. There's incredible works of art, and it's almost ugly. It's not the right word, but it's not like that striking from the outside. But there's some incredible stuff inside. There's more Caravaggio. There's Raphael. There's Bernini. Like it's a really good place to go visit inside. And again, a lot of Rome is going into old Renaissance and pre-Renaissance churches. So if people aren't into seeing art and stuff at all, you can make the judgment call whether or not they need to see something if they don't care about this artwork. But a lot of people who go to Rome do care about the artwork, so that's why they're there. Sometimes I get people to eat some casual bites around here, and what I usually like to do, because there's not a ton of good food, one thing you'll have to be aware of in Rome in general is that, I'll go back and do the food in a minute in Centro Storico, but one thing you have to be aware of is that there's a lot of not very good food. There's a lot of amazing food, but there's also a lot of touristy, overpriced crap. And so rather than sending them to like a really expensive restaurant right around here, this is a little like sort of a small chain actually, but like go to Mondo Arancina and get some amazing arancini and then sit back here and sort of take in the view. Like that's a much better way to do it. Anyway. Now, okay, before I move on up to Passeggiata del Pincio and all the rest, I show you places where along this day of activities in Centro Storico where you'll want to send people to eat and drink coffee and hang out. So these are, as I was explaining before, Jewish ghetto. These are kosher places. It really depends. These aren't necessarily anchors where you have to send people. But this is. Here is Riccioli, which is a very famous sort of conglomeration of food store, cafe, and restaurant. And it's essentially a household name in Rome. It's very famous. The food is incredible. And this is it, Antico Forno Riccioli. And as you can see, it just looks like one right now, but if we go to cafe, there's the Riccioli Cafe. So this is a great place to get good coffee. There's a lot of, like okay coffee all over the place, but that's really good coffee. And this is an incredible place to send people. I would say an anchor for dinner, which is very nice because there's not a lot of incredible dinner places right in Centro Storico. I prefer to send people like a little more fringy places. But this is one of them, and you can make reservations online, which is a beautiful thing. And then this also has this, Antico Forno also has like a sort of more casual pizza counter that you can send people for lunch. And then the Salumeria Vineria is another incredible. It's like, so there's everything you need here, and you can book a table. So you can really go from casual to sort of more fine dining in this area. Another great place to send people, this is only at night, if people are looking for casual food, but I would still consider it one of my favorite places to send people, Fletti di Bacala. It's a little hole-in-the-wall place. They only serve fried cod, and some like puntarelli con alici, like a chicory and anchovy dish. And you can either get it in a brown paper bag to go and like take it out and, drink in Campo di Fiori with it and just sort of hang out, or you can dine in, and it's like a pretty cute experience. People want pizza. Pizzeria Emma is very good. And let's zoom out a little bit. See other places to eat around here. Let's see. This is a great wine bar, casual place. Let's see. This is one of my favorite places to send people, as we were sort of describing this as like a morning and early afternoon rundown here. It's Cafeteria Chiosto del Bramante. It's a hidden cafe inside these cloisters. It's really beautiful. and sort of a very like peaceful place to take a little break from all the madness of the city. This Armando El Pantheon is, I would say, with Roscioli, one of the other best places to send people for dinner in Centro Storico, like right in the heart of this mix. It is really in the heart of the touristy area, and the food is actually really incredible. One thing you'll learn about Rome is, as opposed to like say a city like Tokyo, where you want to always send people to the Michelin-starred places. If people want to go to those places, you can send them to them. But some of the best places in Rome are really these incredible trattorias and osterias that have been around for a long time. There are a lot of new places doing cool and creative things too, but that really sort of stuffy French feeling fine dining is there's a couple places that do it well, but in Rome, if you're on the fence, the best places are usually these incredible trattorias. So we do have some stuff for gluten-free people and vegetarians. Obviously, kosher, you'll send them into the Jewish ghetto. So there's really great options there. There are some seafood places, and we pretty much have the good ones because there's a lot of like not incredible seafood in Rome as well. So if you just search seafood, and you'll see what pops up. But there's a few good options for pescatarians as well. La Tavernetta 48 is another good place, definitely for dinner. And then sometimes people, depending on their nights, if you want to have them have a hearty lunch and then have like a light dinner, like do the fried cod and go out thing, you could do La Tavernetta for lunch as well. This is one of my favorite places to send people during the day. As we were describing sort of this path of like start down here, make your way through Piazza Navona. This is a really great place to send people during the day because there's not a whole lot of stuff like this in Rome that's actually very good. It's open all day. It's affordable. It's very trendy. So that, see, they all come from Michelin-starred restaurants. It's really cute and really like classy at the same time. It's very casual and fun atmosphere. Okay. And then for people who are looking for more casual food, there is some pretty good. There are good panini places over by Fontana, the Trevi Fountain. So there's two right here, which are great. Actually, all of those are panini places near the Trevi Fountain, and they're all good and cheap, and I think that's a nice way to break things up. La Matricianella. I've never been, but I think it's supposed to be very good. We've gotten good feedback about it. That's another place you could definitely send people for dinner. Good trattoria. So that's sort of eating in Centro Storico. What else? There's a couple of other sort of cool things. This is one of the coolest things you can do, I think, for a lunch as well. This little pasta place is normally just a shop, like a little like dry goods and pasta shop. But at lunch, you can go right at 1 o'clock, and for €4, you get this like amazing pasta plate, and that's it. So you have to get there right at 1, and you have to probably wait in line, and you get what you get. You get 2 options, so that's a really good place to send people. Okay. Again, we have some really good vegetarian places, as I mentioned. That Ristorante Life, the Amarguda. If you have a vegetarian who's looking for fine dining, I would send them there because it's in an art gallery. It's very beautiful, and there's a few other good options. Okay, so then moving on. That's Centro Storico. There are places to drink throughout. I will show that actually before we move on, say the best sort of anchors in terms of bars, places I always send people to who are, especially people into like world-class cocktails, craft cocktails, trendy, hipster, any of that sort of crowd. First one is Argo, which is cash only, and a lot of places in Rome and other places in Italy, you have to become like a member of a social club to get in. It's just like a bullshit way to make you pay a weird entrance fee, and then you're a part of like a cultural club, and then you never have to pay again. But if you're only there for a week, it doesn't really matter. So it's a hidden place on a corner, incredible bar, signless door. This is what it looks like inside. You feel like you're inside an old Roman cave because you essentially are. Incredible cocktails run by 3 adorable brothers. Really cool place. Cash owned. The other one is the more famous than Argo, called the Jerry Thomas Project. Probably the most famous like cocktail-y bar in Rome. And you need to get a password ahead of time. You need to make a booking. You can try to do it otherwise, but it usually won't work for you. So make sure you tell people this. Reservations are mandatory, and you have to get the password to get in. But it's really, really fun once you're inside. It gets weird. What else? Deer Club at the Dom Hotel is actually an outdoor upstairs. I call it a balcony. It's a nice place, but I wouldn't say that's key. This is another speakeasy. It's a great place to send people to, and it's a little more like funky, and they have people like reading Shakespeare and stuff. It's a little more out there. This is a great club to send people to because it has multiple rooms and sort of different vibes. So it's like one room will be more like techno crazy, and one's a little more chill. Went over that. This is a really beautiful little bar to get romantic cocktails. People really want to go dancing. La Cabala, and there's one over here that I usually send people to where stuff gets weird. Vicious Club. So anyway, so that's drinking in Centro Storico. And I think there's some really good little wine bars. Beer drinkers always go to the Baladin. Yeah. There's room for more stuff in here. Just had some really good ones that we like to stick to recently. Okay, so that's Centro Storico sort of in a nutshell. And those are the places I will always send people to. And obviously there's a lot more options once you get deep. It just depends what people are really into. So as you can see, where did it go? This, for instance, like if people are interested in art museums and maybe have been to Rome before, for instance, like I would send them to the Doria Pamphili Gallery because there's incredible works of art in here in this beautiful palazzo. Like, look at this. Raphael, so there's incredible stuff everywhere. It's like to just give the main points of Rome is like, it's hard because there's so much. There's Capitoline Hill. So this is a good example of just like visit this area. It's tiny, walk around, you'll check it out. There's temples, there's some interesting little like food places to try, kosher treats, Jewish, and it's not just kosher. It's like its own Roman Jewish cuisine, which is actually really good. They do whole fried artichokes. They're incredible. Okay, so that's Centro Storico. Those are sort of the main must-hits. And as you can see, there's lots of other stuff that you can find if you get into it. Now, I will move on to, let's see, I'll go up to Villa Borghese now. So there's not a whole lot to this. So this is Passeggiata del Pincio. This is a big, beautiful park. There is a zoo. There are museums within it, piazzas within it, a Casa del Cinema, which I didn't even know about. And then, so Galleria Borghese refers to the whole park. And then Villa Borghese sort of refers to the whole park, and Galleria Borghese is the museum. Now, the museum is a private collection. So you must reserve in advance to visit. Art and art history fans will definitely want to come here. I would say depends on the person, but you probably won't go here with only 3 days because it'll take like half of a day up unless you're really a big art history buff. But if you're doing 4 or 5 days and you're into art, anyone who's into art will probably want to come here. It's just a matter of if they have enough time. 20-room collection. It's really an incredible place. And then usually people will let you know. That's one of those sort of questions we ask if they want to visit the Galleria Borghese. We won't just send someone in there blind because it is sort of an endeavor to do it. But visiting the park, I would say yes, you definitely could send people up here to wander around this gorgeous park from Piazza del Popolo. It's hard. Rome is very hilly, so it's hard to get a sense of that. But this goes up into a hill, so you walk up this beautiful Passeggiata del Pincio, and this walkway is like it's just very picturesque and very gorgeous. And then again, once you're all up in here, there's Via Medici. That is another art history, gorgeous. I mean, it's a gorgeous castle. There's a lot of this up here. You just walk up these hills, and even if you don't go inside to the Villa Medici, you can walk up here from the Spanish Steps and send people for beautiful views. So people who are interested, who say they want scenic walks and beautiful views, you'll definitely send in this area because this is a lot of it, and you'll have great views of the city. Places to hang out, places to chill, Borghese gardens, Roman sculptures, sweeping views. Yes, it's all beautiful up here. Then before we move on completely, this area is, I don't even know what you call this area, to be totally honest, but it's essentially still Centro Storico, but you're just a little further out, and you sort of have to go over this hump of like McDonald's and some like stupid stuff right here. It's like once you go this way from Via Sistina, it's like a little like meh. But there are a ton of hotels here. Watching. So they're nice hotels. They're just like not necessarily in the middle of like adorable walking around areas. Like there is some stuff to do, but it's a little more like big and grand and where they can get a St. Regis to have like 200 rooms or whatever. So you'll often have people coming from there, which is just something to be aware of because then you have to sort of get them over. And it's not hard to do. It's just like a bit of a, where do we send them for coffee? Where do we send them for this sort of a thing? There's a couple of incredible churches over here, things to visit. Oh, that's a tour. So this is church, and then this is, if anyone's interested in going to the opera, this is the opera. This is where you'll send them. And one thing I like to do, a little highbrow, lowbrow thing, if people are into it. So there's fine dining here. Man, where is this place? It's hidden. Here we go. It's a little porchetta shop that's like 2 doors down from the opera house, which I think is a really fun thing to do. Some people to go get a porchetta sandwich after seeing the opera like late night. When you get out at 10 o'clock, people are into that. That's a fun way to do things. Okay. So that is a day or 2 days, depending on the Villa Borghese situation. If you're going into the museum, that's the second day. If you're just going to go up and maybe like take a view right here and then have dinner back down here, that could be a day. And again, it depends how much people try to do within a day and how long they're spending. So another way to do this. So let's move on then. Go back to Piazza Venezia, which I sort of think of a few areas as like these like sort of connectors between, or a few sort of spots as connectors between activities and between neighborhoods. I think of Piazza Venezia as always like our tag for it is pass through Piazza Venezia. So it's like go from one to the other. You're going to walk through this beautiful, crazy, overwhelming street and area and make your way on to the next thing. So often, now we bring you into the Colosseum world. Okay. So often, we recommend that people go to the Colosseum early because it's just a good thing to do. Just get up and go, honestly. It's a little less crazy in the morning than it is in the afternoon, and that way you have a few different really fun options for what to do with your afternoon, and it's sort of the perfect amount of time. It takes about, depending on the person, anywhere between 1 and 3 hours. If you want to do a tour, if you want to go down and Below ground, you need a tour, you need a guide. If you want to do the Roman Forum, it'll take longer. So either way, it's a good morning activity. So you could, if someone's staying over here, have them get coffee at Riccioli, walk up, and then walk down from Piazza Venezia through. This street bisects on one side the Roman Forum, and then there's some other sort of ancient ruins, Foro d'Agosto, Foro Traiano over here. And most of the time I don't send people to those specifically as they're walking. If they want to go see them, they will. It's a lot of ancient Roman ruins. It can be like overwhelming, honestly. So from Piazza Venezia, you'll go to the Colosseum. And an interesting thing to note is that so there's a lot of tours that we also send people to. Skip the Line, Colosseum and Ancient Rome tour, which we'll do. The Capitoline Hill, which is, so again, it's hard to tell, but this is a hill up here. Incredible views. Roman Forum. And the Colosseum. So for one price, you get entrance to all three of those things. So the ticket to the Colosseum includes the Roman Forum and the Campidoglio. So just for people who are interested in doing all that, it's a very easy way for them to do so. And then if that's your morning, depending on the person and depending on how long, you have one of two options. I think if people, or actually have three options. So for the people who are in Rome for a short amount of time, who don't have like 4 or 5, 6 days, and definitely for people who've never been to Rome before, my favorite way to go is Colosseum in the morning, and then come over here. You'll walk down this street, you'll walk through here. It's sort of like a interesting grassy no man's land that you can walk through. It takes like a 15-minute walk from the Colosseum to the Mouth of Truth right here, which is very famous. That's the Roman holiday. If you stick your hand in and you lie, it like bites your hand off or whatever. But it's sort of a kitschy thing to visit, but depending on the person, it can be an anchor for some. I don't know why it's not showing up right now. Oh, it's just over here. So, okay. I like to send people to the Colosseum on the weekends, and it can be a little more busy, but the reason I like to do this is because then I send them to Campagna Amica Market del Circo Massimo. So Circo Massimo is, again, another giant area of old Roman ruins here. Just an incredible place to walk through all of this, just like wander through all these old Roman ruins and columns and things. And this market is all things only from Lazio, the region that Rome is in, which is very cool, and there's nothing else like it inside of Rome. And it's a really, really cool market. So anyone into food, into like foodie stuff, I would definitely send them here. But no, it's only open Saturday and Sunday, which is why it's great to send people to the Colosseum. It's kind of nice to send people, especially people who are just there for the weekend, send them on Sunday because they won't be able to go to the Vatican on Sunday. So interesting. Good way to sort of plan that. And then you sort of get a fun, different way to get over to Trastevere. So here, there's also food. Obviously, you'll be eating a ton of food. There'll be people selling porchetta sandwiches, like all kinds of good stuff at the market. Good little cafe bar right here with pastries, but the food really will be at the market, which is fun. Then you have them walk across the bridge right here. This is Tiber River, and from the Mouth of Truth, this is all super easy walk right over here, and you're smack in the middle of Trastevere when you're on the other side, which, as I mentioned, is this very, very cute neighborhood. Okay, anchors. So the thing about Trastevere is it's very cute, and there's some sort of like a lot of restaurants that look, if they have food outside, like don't go there, like the displays. But there's a lot of, it's more just a place to wander. So that's why we have there's also a really good food tour in Trastevere. The Eating Italy one's one of my favorites. So we just tell people to wander the streets of Trastevere. And that's really the best. This is the better one to use, and this one needs to get deleted. Because this right here is sort of the heart of it all, the sort of outlined street, and it does cross over here as well. But this is like the real heart right here. Because it's just so picturesque and beautiful, and it's it's a great way to spend an afternoon. This is he's actually a really nice guy, very good cook it seems like, and he does like 5-hour classes for people who want to cook. A great way to do it. And so really you just want to have people explore this on their own time. And Basilica of Santa Maria in Trastevere is one of the most famous basilicas. It's very, very old, like much older than a lot of others. There's Byzantine stuff in there. Very cool. And then there's good shopping as well, just a little bit, like some fun places to check out, gifts and things. And then what I like to do is to send people up the hill. So after you've also spent a lot of time looking at, Roman ruins all morning, it's kind of nice just to wander and explore this neighborhood. And then walk up this hill. It's like only a 10-15 minute walk up the hill, but it's a little steep. And you'll be right at the base of this beautiful park, in Passeggiata del Gianicolo. And there's a beautiful fountain up here that looks sort of similar to the Trevi Fountain in its sort of grandeur. It was the inspiration for the Trevi Fountain. And it's gorgeous. It's just a gorgeous place to walk up and see views of the whole city. You can see over this way. You can see over, if you go to the other side, you can see over to the Vatican as well, which is sort of up on a hill as well, so you can see both St. Peter's. And then the best part about Trastevere for me is the eating and drinking. So it's a good place to wander, but then there's so much fun. This is one of my favorite places to send people. It's a casual place, but really incredible food. And there's a lot of good places to do aperitivo. Aperitivo is, you're eating and drinking before dinner, and you buy a drink, and there's like food sitting there for you to eat for free, which is incredible. It's included with the price of your drink. So lots of places like La Prosciutteria. I think this place is actually incredible because it's all seasonal and it's all local Latvian food. There's sort of like fresh produce you can buy retail, but then they also do incredible little spreads for aperitivo as well. This is a great place to send people for dinner. Like I said, the tavernas and the trattorias are like the rustic Roman is really like the best expression of it, rather than the super fancy white linen tablecloth places. And that's a good pizza place. Again, people often say, I want pizza, I'm into pizza. Freni Affizioni is a very famous place to get aperitivo and cocktails, and as you can see, you're right on the Tiber River. And this is another great place for craft beers. And what I often have people do is, if they're having sort of like a casual fun night, especially if this is their Saturday night, this is a fun way to sort of start the night, is get your beers at Marchese Siete Venuti. Let's see if they can do it, yeah. So at Marche, you get beers and you take them into the piazza. And there's just steps here and people hang out, like sort of visit, like looking over the river, and everyone just drinks outside and hangs out. It's a very, very good way to sort of spend an early evening or an evening. And then, you can then go from there to like a more sort of fine dining restaurant, or not fine dining, but more like upscale place. Another restaurant I often send people to is Da Enzo al 29. Roma Sparita is good as well, but I think I prefer sending people to Da Enzo. So that's sort of an afternoon in Trastevere. It's very, very casual, very easy, and it's a great way to spend an afternoon wandering these little streets. There's little markets. There's all kinds of stuff. Okay, let's see now where we are. Now we'll go over to where we always have to send everyone. Oh, and wanted to finish up one thing. As I mentioned over here, like if you have people drinking and hanging out at Piazza Trilussa, Ferne Frizioni, at all these places, and then having dinner somewhere here. A great thing to do is then have them walk across Ponte Sisto as a walking bridge. Everyone walks across it all night long and takes pictures. It's very cute. And then head out back to those bars I showed you around here previously. Because if you were spending the morning here, you wouldn't go to these bars necessarily, but especially if people are staying in this area, they've had their dinners here. Maybe they even went to, Riccioli for dinner. Now it makes this nice loop, and it's all totally walkable. Like, this is so easy to just walk from here over here. People do it all night long, and everyone walks everywhere. It's very nice. This whole area is very sort of congested to drive around in, so I wouldn't recommend it unless it's necessary. Okay, so now we'll go from another sort of connecting point. So, getting to the Vatican. Let's get out of nighttime things. So again, often people stay here. Along the water is pretty popular in Jewish ghetto, hotels around here. So, how do you get from there to Vatican? We like to also send people to the Vatican in the morning. Again, it's much less busy, and it's just one of those activities that just, you can spend the Vatican, you can get lost in for an entire day, to be honest, in the museums. But usually people try to spend about 2 to 3 hours in the Vatican museums, ending up in the Sistine Chapel. And so it's a great morning activity to just do it and have it be done with, and then you have the rest of your day to sort of be outside. So how to get people over there? Depending on where people are staying, if they're staying here, you can have them walk across Ponte Sant'Angelo. It also depends on the mobility. I like to have people walk because there's so much easy walking. This is all walkable, but sometimes you have older customers that just like, get me a cab. You're like, sure. So this is a beautiful bridge, Ponte Sant'Angelo. Again, another walking bridge that has famous, beautiful sculptures along it and ends at the Sant'Angelo Castello. And this you can either do on your way over to the Vatican or on your way back. It just sort of depends on where you're coming from. So Castel Sant'Angelo, mostly we just tell people to walk by it because for the most part they're coming from or heading to the Vatican. And it is a beautiful castle to go inside and visit, but it's more just gorgeous enough to just walk past it because you're about to go to the Vatican. So you don't need even more art in your day unless, this is somewhere you might send someone who's spending more time than 3 or 4 days. So then you send them to the Vatican, and just know that you see where the name is, Musei Vaticani. This is where you have to enter the Vatican. So it's not like they're coming straight here. So just be aware of that. This is St. Peter's Basilica. So it's a very beautiful walk, but then just know that they'll have to sort of walk around here. Often tours meet at Cafe Vaticano. There's certain places you'll see where there's tour meeting spots. So you send people to visit the Vatican museums. You can either send them to on a guided tour or not. We have a few sort of private tours that we work with sometimes, and then we also just hook people up with the guided tours that are offered through the Vatican website because they're actually pretty good. So imagine that's your morning. There's coffee places. If you're coming from here, you might get coffee at Antico Forno. You might get coffee. You might have breakfast at Chiostro. This is another Brassai. There's a lot of good little casual coffee places. Barnum is really good, and they actually have really great cocktails at night. So you might send them there. Or if people are coming from this side of the world, like I said, like these hotels over here by Piazza di Spagna, this is another beautiful walk, and you can walk right across from Piazza del Popolo and right down Via Cola di Rienzo or Viale Giulio Cesare. And this coffee shop is probably the best coffee shop in Rome. So if people are coming from this direction by any chance, definitely try to send them through there. Otherwise, you can hit it afterwards. So from the Vatican, there's only 2 places I send people for lunch because they're just too good. You either send them to Pizzeria Bonci, which is like Gabriele Bonci is one of the most famous pizzaiolos in Rome, in Italy, and he also has he has another shop up here. Oh no, where is it? Anyway, he has a second one, but you would only send them to this one because it's much closer actually. Or you could send them to Angry Pig, which is a really, really incredible pork place. Now, let's say it's a weekday that you're sending them to the Vatican, which is what I like to do. Because then, after you get them to have a bite, again, for people that are interested in like food markets, Mercato Trionfale is probably the most practical market that exists in Rome. It's like just big and so much food, and it's amazing, but it's also still very beautiful, like whereas Campo de Fiore is half just for tourists to take pictures of it, like this is where people still really go to get their groceries, and it has really incredible stuff. It's nice and big. So that's, as you can see, like you'd get your food and then go straight to the market and probably eat more there. But it's a great way to finish, an area near the Vatican and a morning near the Vatican. Then, as I said, if you didn't come across this way to begin with, I would often send people right back this way through Castel Sant'Angelo, Ponte Sant'Angelo, or to Piazza Cavour, which is just a beautiful, it sort of feels very modern, almost feels like Barcelona-ish with all these palm trees, but just another beautiful square to have people sort of walk through and visit. And right over here there is some fun, this is a wine and spirit shop that you can also drink at, but you can also like get stuff to bring back to your hotel or whatever, so it's like a really cute place to visit. There's some shopping. Some people like to sort of like wander back this way and shop. Via Cola di Rienzo is sort of known as a shopping street in Rome. I don't often send people to go shopping there though because it's not like the highest quality stuff, but there is some cute stuff. So, and then that could bring you, if you did that in the morning, then you could come back this way and spend the afternoon doing Piazza Navona, Pantheon, San Luigi dei Francesi, those sort of things. So that's another sort of morning to afternoon situation. You're going from Prati and the Vatican in the morning to spending the afternoon here and, finishing with a dinner at Roscioli here. I would not recommend you can send people back up here through Piazza del Popolo after the Vatican for sure, and then send them this way, Piazza di Spagna, if they're going to dinner over here or something. You can absolutely send people to do that, but I would not recommend doing both the Vatican and the Museo and Galleria Borghese and Villa Borghese in one day, just because it's just sort of a lot. It's a lot of walking and a lot of, seems like they're two big things. I would keep them broken up. So the main things that if you have 3 days in Rome, you might do, like you're going to the Colosseum, you're doing an exploration of the Pantheon, Piazza Navona, Trevi Fountain, Piazza di Spagna, a Centro Storico, and you're doing the Vatican. And you're definitely doing the Vatican and the Colosseum on 2 different days. One day, different day, right? And then the nice thing is that they're sort of split. They're both close to Centro Storico. And just know that you can split this day up into 2 days. You can give it its own day. There's a lot of different ways that Centro Storico can be sort of used in multiple days, like start off at Piazza di Spagna, Piazza del Popolo, and then spend an afternoon up here in Galleria Borghese. That's a day. You could have a whole day spent here with a dinner in Trastevere at the end. You could have a morning gone straight to the Colosseum and then to Trastevere for the afternoon. So maybe you come back here for dinner at night. So this is going to be home base for a lot of people because a lot of people will be staying around here. So don't be afraid to break up the activities. But just be aware that a lot of them are very close. So you're going to want to have it, be at different times. not send someone to Piazza Navona one day and then Pantheon the next day because they're just too close. They're probably going to run over them otherwise and be like, oh, I already did that anyway. I don't need to do it the next day. So those are sort of the main places you'd send people on a very short trip. Now, another way to do the Colosseum is to send people from the Colosseum, if you have an extra afternoon, or if you're really into shopping, to send people to this area. And I will show you what I mean. Oh, it's over here. So there's a lot of shops there. Monti, this neighborhood is known as Monti. It is absolutely gorgeous, absolutely picturesque. It's sort of like a Trastevere, except it's a little less touristy and a little more locally, which, we like. There's more hits than misses, I would say, whereas Trastevere is just as picturesque and maybe even a little more. It's like gorgeous. There's a lot of misses, a lot of places you can sort of spend too much money on not so exciting gifts and things like that. This area you'll do better. There's incredible vintage shopping here. Anyone who wants to go do vintage shopping, there is a vintage market I think it's only on the weekends, but if someone's into vintage and shopping, you have to send them over here. I mean, this is the place. Shopping everywhere, incredible shopping. So it's all very cute, very, very walkable. And as you can see, it's very close to the Colosseum. So you would walk down one of these cute little streets and get over to Monti. So you can send people to do Colosseum in the morning and straight here for lunch, which is something I also like to do. If you're not going to send them to the market at Circo Massimo and then to Trastevere, this is just another option of an afternoon. So as you can see, there's not a whole lot of like big museum-y sites. This is just, I always like to put this in Via del Boschetto and Monti Boschetto is sort of the main drag of all the shopping stuff, but Via Penisparna as well. So just send them over here and be like, get you here, go shop and explore. And then there's lots of shopping to do with it. This is a gorgeous church. I think it's one of the papal churches, so it's like very, very big. And if someone wants, it's another beautiful place to send people at Baroque church. Incredible paintings, works of art. And then within here, where you're going to send people to eat, always important, casual place, super cheap little panini rolls that are really good. This is a famous restaurant. Chef Donna Teresa is like a cult chef. People love her carbonara, love all of her pastas. L'Asino d'Oro is incredible. It is Umbrian, so be aware some people are like going specifically for Roman food. This is not necessarily just Roman. It's Umbrian as well. Le Tavernel is another. I mean, there's just a lot of really good places. This is sort of like more casual. They have like burgers and stuff. It's sort of like young Roman hangout place. But there's some really good places here, and those are all great options to send people for dinner, or for lunch or dinner, depending on what they're in the mood for. And then if you are in Monti, you have to send people to La Casetta. Because look at this place. It's just the cutest cafe in the whole world. You can't not go in there and have a coffee. So it's a great place to sort of have an afternoon break of shopping and stuff. They also have food. You can have lunch there. You can have a glass of wine there. It's pretty much where you want to be. Bar La Licata actually serves a similar purpose, so you could do both. And then both of these, I Tres Scalini and Libreria Cafe Bohemian, are both incredible, really cute, very local, just like super authentic, great places to get a drink of wine. And then this is a really nice, trendy cocktail bar. So pretty much everything here is like just so on point, and I love to send people here if they have the time. Another nice thing to note is people are starting to stay here more often, and more recently I've been seeing a lot of like Airbnbs and people staying around here. So it's a really nice area to have people stay, because if they do, it's a little bit out of the way to get all over here, but I think they're so much happier being in such a cute neighborhood here. It's not hard to walk from here over here. You have your coffee, you can get, grab and go, get your way over here. And you can always have people take the metro, which is pretty simple. Okay, so that's Monti. So those are sort of like the big hit neighborhoods. Now, if you have an extra day as well, so say you're on to like the 4 or 5 days, or even 3.5 to 5 day trips, depending on your person's interests, Monti and Testaccio are the two next neighborhoods you take them to. So Testaccio is going to feel like almost a different city. It's like old school. It's where the old slaughterhouse was. It is a little like more industrial looking. And there's more regular people, and it's not like as like grandiose looking. Anyone who's into food, this is my favorite food tour. It's the same company that does the Trastevere food tour, but it's such an interesting place because since it's where the old slaughterhouse was, where all the awful cuisine of Rome comes from. And anyway, so this is Testaccio. Send them on a food tour if they're into it. There is an art gallery, which is actually in the old slaughterhouse. So that's another cool thing. This is the Testaccio market, which was renovated and but still has like vendors from, families hundreds of years ago. Non-Catholic cemetery for foreigners sounds weird. It's where Keats is buried, and it's really, really beautiful and overgrown and gorgeous. So this area is just a cool area, very easy to check out. As you can see, it's a little bit out of the way of things, so you can either tell people to get up and get there in the morning, and they can take a cab or the metro fairly easily. If they're staying in Trastevere, they can walk down along the river. It's a really beautiful walk. But usually people will take a metro or a cab down here in the morning just because of the distance. This is probably a 25-minute walk. So depending on where you are, it's not bad, and the weather and all those good things. And then one of the best things to do, even if you're here for a short time, if people are really into food and they really want to try Roman cuisine, you could send them just down here for dinner. So these are places I would send people to for dinner, even if they're only here for 3 days. Mordi Vai is within the market, and if someone's going to the Testaccio market, this is where they will have to get lunch. It's an incredible sort of an institution. Beef and tripe sandwiches and things like that. So Tavernaccio de Bruno is one of the places I send people. Cecchino is another incredible Quinto Quarto awful place. Flavio, and then Ristoranti Perilli. All of those places are incredible options, and like I said before, again, there's the sort of amazing traditional, rustic, family-run places. These are where you really want to send people who are really excited by food. So that's Testaccio. Then finally, let's see. Other neighborhoods you might send people to are all the way up here, so you can see where we are. Down, back up. This is the train station. Let's go to activities. So we have Pineto and San Lorenzo. And these places I wouldn't send people to unless they're in town for 5 days or more, or have been there multiple times, or are really looking for like nightlife. So Pineto is like, it's almost, they'd call it, it's like the Bushwick of Rome or something. It's where all the like Roman sprezzatura hipsters live, and it's a really, really cool area. And there's just like a lot of good bars, and the restaurants are like fun, but I wouldn't necessarily call them amazing. There's a really good Ethiopian restaurant. So again, this is a place you send someone who's been here multiple times, who knows Rome very well, who, wants to eat ramen in Rome. Like, there's some cool stuff, but you just have to sort of be aware. You would not send someone here who's never been before, and who, wants to go to a nice like wine bar with like grown-ups. You wouldn't send them over here. In this area, we haven't actually done a whole lot with it, but this is the San Lorenzo area. This is a place I do send people out to dinner at Tram Tram. It's just incredible Roman pugliese trattoria. And this is where the university students live. So if you have young people who are like on a budget, there's a lot of good Airbnbs in this area. I don't know how often that situation will arise, but if you get people who are really on a budget, that's a good place because there's no tourists over here. As you can see, it's on the other side of the train station. It's actually really cute. Both of these areas are very affordable. So if people are like strapped for money and are traveling here, that's a way you can recommend it if they've been before and if they sort of know what's up. And that's pretty much the neighborhood rundown. And then I'll show you some restaurants that you would send people to that don't necessarily coincide with where they're staying or anything, just where you gotta go. One of them is over here by the Vatican. And I rarely have people in this area at night because it's just like, it's sort of meh. It's like cool, but like if you're not staying there, you don't need to stay there at night. But this restaurant I would send people to without a doubt. Just get a cab over here, and especially people who are interested in like what's going on with Roman food right now. This is not just like a rustic trattoria. This is modern, incredible Italian food, and he spent time cooking in Mumbai. Like just very very interesting. So I would definitely send people here. Where's La Pergola? No, all the way up here. Now this restaurant is the only 3 Michelin starred restaurant in Rome. If you live that kind of life and you are that kind of person, you gotta send them here. As you can see, it's pretty out of the way. This is way up in the hills in a beautiful hotel. I forget which hotel, in the Waldorf. And if they want super fine dining, definitely send them here. Don't send someone here unless they want ultra fine dining though. Now, what else? There's some other really good places. I sort of showed you the ones in Central already. I'm looking for something. Oh, Ristorante Alessio is a great option, especially, like I said, for people who are staying in this area where there are these hotels, but it's not like the most picturesque area. That's a great option. I showed you L'Asino Dora, Carbonara. Those are all incredible places to dine. Now that we have another fun one that's sort of out in no man's land out here. Oh, not Litro, even further no man's land. Litro is an incredible place to drink natural wine and sort of see like what's going on in like the, again, sort of more modern Roman scene. It's out in the hills in the Monteverdo area. And it's a great place, again, to have aperitivo. So I would definitely not forget about it if people are willing to travel. But the restaurant I'm looking for, oh, wow, it's all the way out there, is Da Cesare al Casaletto. And this is, Katie Parla calls it the perfect Roman trattoria, and we trust her. So it's just like, it's supposed to be sort of casual, but high-end, just very well executed. And I would definitely send people out here. Again, L'Osteria del Monteverde is another place I'd send people to. And it's worth a trek. Places that are worth a trek, for sure. Tram over here, I would say is definitely worth a trek. The places in Testaccio that I mentioned, pretty much all of them are. I like to send people to Tavernaccia da Bruno is my favorite. And one fun thing to note about Tavernaccia is you can request the maialino when you reserve ahead of time because they run out of it so quick. It's amazing. Well, worth it to request ahead of time. So that's pretty much Rome. This is the heart of the city, and everything else sort of stems from it. There's incredible food everywhere, and there's places to avoid. Obviously, we have the places that are the best, and yeah, I think that sort of covers it. Let's see, shopping. I said Monte is shopping. This area in Centro is shopping. And then this area up here has more incredible shopping. And then this is the Monte area for shopping. And this is where you'll find incredible, some sort of more like hip concept shop stores and things like that, and lots of great vintage. Yeah, so that is my rundown of Rome. I hope this covers everything that everyone needs to ever know about Rome. And yeah, I guess this is done.